Mock draft time. Oh boy, it's mock draft time. And this one is a little different. It's going to be a first round mock draft, but we're going to include some trades for some quarterbacks because there's a lot of quarterbacks right now on the trade market. So we're going to have 4 quarterbacks that switch teams, and that alters how we do this mock draft. It's going to be a blast. We're going to have a good time. What's crack-lackin'? It's your boy Baroshmo, just in case you did not know. So go ahead, become a bro and subscribe. Leave that thumbs up if you enjoy the content. Go ahead and leave a comment. Let's have that nice, good, sensual, intimate football discourse in the comment section below. I know I'm looking a bit rough. I got this nice little battle scar. I was wrestling with my dog and I lost, and now I look like Scar from Lion King. I'm basically a villain. I'm a villain of the mock draft community. That's not true, man. I'm like Batman. I'm the hero of the mock draft community. I'm not the hero y'all wanted, but I'm the hero you deserve. All right, enough blowing me up. Let's go ahead and let's get into this. Also, if you haven't already, check out my Senior Bowl video, my winners and losers on the weigh-ins. Check that out. And hey, shoot, this should actually come out while while the Senior Bowl practices are going on. So you should go check that on ESPNU if you have that. But let's get into this. Trevor Lawrence, nothing changes here. He's the first overall pick. The Jaguars, they be doing some silly things if they go otherwise. Some people be like, well, what about the Urban Meyer, Ohio State, Justin Fields connection? Urban Meyer wasn't the coach when Justin Fields moved to the team, so it's irrelevant. Texans, they're here. We made a trade. The Jets, they went ahead, they traded for Deshaun Watson. Sounds like the Jets are one of the top suitors, and it sounds like that the Texans are going to be looking for anywhere north of 3 to 4 first-round draft picks in exchange for Watson, and if not 4, they'll go for 3 and a few day 2 picks. So I try to do as much finagling with this as possible because I don't want to just, for the Jets to give away all their draft capita. I wanted to keep one of our first rounders in 2022. I wanted to keep our second rounder this season to do something important, which will become a little more apparent later in this draft. So I thought we did a quality job of trying to get at least decent value for, or at least not giving up too much for Watson. So now the Texans, they're here. They have both first round picks of the Jets. So we're in rebuild. We're rebuilding the team. It's a new regime, new quarterback. We're going Zach Wilson. The kid makes special throws and he makes them look easy. We're going with Wilson here. Then the Dolphins. This is a very hotly debated, hey, what are the Dolphins going to do? That's a good question. What are they going to do? I say if they can't trade out, which we don't, we're only doing trades with the quarterbacks in this mock draft. I like Jamar Chase over Penei Sewell. I know Sewell is a fabulous prospect. It would be nice to get some more talent on that offensive line, but the Dolphins don't have playmakers. They got Devontae Parker. He's a contested catch guy. He ain't much of a playmaker. Let's get a playmaker. Jamar Chase is that. Don't forget, 2019, he was special. And then the Atlanta Falcons, I think with the whole Micah Parsons character issue thing becoming a big thing right now, until we find out more on that, we can't really go Parsons here. So then where do you go? You go quarterback. I say I don't see the Falcons picking in the top 5 in the next few years with Matt Ryan there at quarterback. We have a shot at getting a quality quarterback. Honestly, Justin Fields, he could be a top quarterback in any other draft. So we're going to go with Fields here. He could sit on the bench for a year or two behind Matt Ryan. Keep in mind the cat's 36. So why not just, hey, let's get our franchise quarterback. Let's make sure the quarterback position is taken care of for the next decade. That's what I feel like we're doing here. Well, Bengals get lucky. We get protection for Joe Burrow. We're going to just do that. The Eagles pick is a bit interesting because you could go corner here. With whether you're higher on Farley or Surtain. I think at this point, it's really a toss-up for me because that secondary does need help. But I mean, when it comes to rookie corners, typically they're not going to improve the secondary immediately. So maybe they do that through free agency. Let's go ahead. Let's grab a playmaker. We're going Devontae Smith. Let's give Carson Wentz one last shot here. Here are all the weapons, Carson Wentz. If you fail this year, we're moving on, dude. That's just how it is. They might move on this offseason too. He ended up not being one of the quarterbacks we traded for. But on to the Detroit Lions, man. We're going quarterback. Matthew Stafford, he said he's gone. They agreed to part ways. So he's on the move. He's going to get traded. You'll see that later in this draft. So let's get our quarterback of the future. They hired Dan Campbell. They signed him to a 6-year deal, which tells me they're ready to rebuild. So they have time to develop a quarterback. We're going to go with Trey Lance because the dude's got a lot of tools. The Panthers, you could go Micah Parsons here. I think if everything comes out true and there's no real, because with what's going on with Micah Parsons is just bullying, hazing, with former Penn State former Penn State recruit Isaiah Humphrey dating back to 2018, and then going back as soon as June 2020, so not too long ago, where he was having coaches cover up for him. So I don't know, until we get more on that, I don't think Micah Parsons falls out of like the top 15, but I think he might fall out of the top 10 at the very least. No quarterback here for the Panthers to take. I don't think Mac Jones, Kyle Trask are worth top 10 picks. So we could go Waddle because Curtis Samuel probably not coming back. But I say Kyle Pitts, man. I like Kyle Pitts. I like to see what Joe Brady can do with him. It gives him a very diverse weapon compared to what he has in DJ Moore, compared to what he has in CMC, compared to what he has in Robbie Anderson. He's just a much different weapon in that regard, a guy that could kick out to the outside. He could play on the inside. He could play in line. He could do it, and he could do it how you want it. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. And who want what Darren Waller, which I would say is potentially his floor, which that ain't a bad floor to have. Who won't want Darren Waller on their squad? The Broncos, like I said with Micah Parsons earlier, I think it's likely he's probably going to fall a bit. So I'm going to take him out of the conversation here. We ended up not trading for any of the quarterbacks because the Broncos, I think they might be in the Matthew Stafford conversation. I just don't think they're going to be the winners. I have another team that I think will get Matthew Stafford. So what do we do here then? What do we do here? We're not going quarterback. Obviously, it's too high for quarterback unless they want to trade back. Let's just go with corner, and I'm going to go with Caleb Farley. I'm a bit higher than I am. I'm a bit higher on Farley than I am Surtain, just because of the athletic and physical traits. He has those traits that get you drafted in the top 10 if you're a corner. He comes from a zone. He primarily played zone at Virginia Tech in 2019. So honestly, he should be good in a Vic Fangio defense. AJ Boye, I believe, is a free agent this year. The rookies, while they looked okay at parts this year, I think you still bring in talent and competition to the corner position. And Bryce Callahan, I think he's at his best when in the slot, but he can play on the outside. So let's just bring some help for Callahan, man. The Dallas Cowboys, I did think about Micah Parsons here just because Dan Quinn, man. I was thinking, okay, Micah Parsons, honestly, he could be used like how Quinn's used Vic Beasley, how he used like Bruce Irvin. But because let's be fair, Aldon Smith's probably gonna not come back to the team. Or at least I don't see how Dallas can re-sign him. We could talk about maybe Christian Darrisaw, Rashaan Slater. I'm just gonna go Surtain. They need help in the secondary. He's gonna really Surtain really fits what Quinn expects from his corners. So, and you can't deny the production he's had for 3 seasons in the SEC, dude. Elite production. So we're gonna go Surtain. Joe Judge, he's gonna pass on Micah Parsons because Danny Dimes, he needs weapons. Give the man weapons. Give him a fighting chance. He's got Darius Slayton, but we're gonna grab Waddle here because Waddle's better than what they have in Sterling Shepard. He's better than what they have in Golden Tate. And then you might be like, the Jets? I thought this was the Niners pick. Well, we did a trade, dude. Sam Darnold, he's going to the Niners. I didn't know that Kyle Shanahan apparently years ago was high on Sam Darnold. So he's going to get him at a value, or what I consider a value, because they're trading their first rounder, but they're going to get the Jets second rounder in return. So they're going to have 2 second rounders on top of probably the third rounder they're going to get for the Emmanuel Sanders, like the compensatory pick. So yes, the Jets, they won't have a pick until late third round, I believe at this point, but they get a lot of day 3 picks, which in a class this deep, you can find value on day 3. So they're still going to be able to upgrade this team, maybe with some guys that maybe take a little longer to develop. They're not going to be immediate starters, but hey, you got your franchise quarterback. Shut up. The Niners, they get Sam Darnold. They're going to eventually trade Jimmy Garoppolo in this draft. We'll get to it when that happens. So yeah, I think this is very interesting. So what do we do with the Jets then? It's a fair question. What do we do with the Jets? I would have loved Jalen Waddle here. He's gone. Micah Parsons, he's intriguing, but I think Robert Saleh is going to love Kwity Paye, because this guy, go check out the 3-cone. It's out on Twitter. It's out on Twitter for the world to see. Kwity Paye, athletically and physically, is a monster. He's got great tools. He expanded his toolbox this year in the 4 to 6 games we saw him in. He showed great hand counters. There was a big leap in development for Kwity Paye. He's my top edge. We're gonna get him at a really good price here. And then the Los Angeles Chargers. We're not gonna go Parsons. The top corners for this pick are off. I mean, J.C. Horn, but he doesn't really fit what I think they're gonna want there in for Staley. I mean, we could go edge, but I mean, do they want Gregory Rousseau? I don't know. They need help. Let's help Herbert. Let's develop Herbert on this line. Let's get him some protection. We're going to go with Christian Darrisaw. Athletically, physically, he's got those top 15 traits. I think he does go in the top 15. I think this is a good landing spot for him to come play left tackle while you have Brian Bulaga there on the right. So I think you shore up your tackle spots. Now on to the Minnesota Vikings. We're going to do a bit of the same. We're going to go with Rashaan Slater. I like Slater here because everyone and their mom's saying, oh, he could play guard. He's never played guard before, but he can project into guard based on the limitations in terms of his arm length and his height. But I think he's athletically and technically good enough to stay there on the outside. But you could start him immediately at guard, which the Vikings, they need help at. You could start him immediately at guard and then eventually after the season move on from Riley Reif and then kick Slater out to left tackle, because I think Ezra Cleveland's probably going to stay there at right guard. So let's just get some help on the interior of that line. While it won't be, permanently, it will be something you eventually, like I said, you're likely going to move Slater to the outside after this season. But it also allows you time to maybe develop someone else you get later in the draft, or you could just address it in free agency. So the New England Patriots, we're sticking with this pick, but we're getting Jimmy G. We're getting him at a bargain. I think this is where this is what I've seen price-wise for Jimmy G, 3rd rounder, and then future 5th rounder. That's what PFF kind of listed him off at. I mean, it's weird because Sam Darnold, Goat House, he had him as a 4th round value, and it's like, I feel like teams would be willing to spend a 2nd rounder on Sam Darnold at the very least. So I don't know. I think once Matthew Stafford gets traded, we're gonna kind of have that. Okay, this is the price range of like guys like Jimmy G and Sam Darnold. So we're gonna probably have to hang tight, man. It's gonna be very interesting to see what these quarterbacks go for on the open market. But okay, they got Jimmy G. They really have a Band-Aid. I mean, Josh McDaniels wanted Jimmy G. Bill Belichick wanted to continue with Jimmy G. They just traded him away. Well, now they got him back. They got him back on a bargain. So let's go address other areas. Micah Parsons, he ain't falling any further. I mean, I think the Patriots have shown, hey, we don't care about character concerns because we expect you to come in here and how do I say this nicely? Shut your mouth and do your job. That's what happened with, well, kind of with Antonio Brown, and then eventually he was gone. But I don't think character concerns will be too much. Like, I don't think Bill Belichick will be too concerned with if Micah Parsons falls here, too concerned about those character red flags. While they're ugly, I don't think they're that or as detrimental to his draft stock as some people may think. Or at least that's my opinion on it. Because I mean, I get hazing. It's a childish thing to do, but keep in mind these guys, especially 2 years ago, they are children to some extent. You know, honestly, I didn't feel like I became a grown man until like I was 26. So while yes, it shouldn't be taken lightly, I don't think it's something that's gonna cripple his draft stock. I think he still goes in the top 15. It's just my opinion on it. So Patriots, they make out with the deal. Arizona Cardinals, not a lot we can do with, I think, this pick. I just ended up going with J.C. Horn. He's kind of a scheme fit here in Arizona. Patrick Peterson, they've never really been able to find someone that could be kind of his running mate there. And his play did kind of decline last year, so they do need to address the secondary, which they should probably do also through free agency. And then, okay, Las Vegas Raiders. This is like my favorite fit right now. Like my favorite place to mock Azeez Ojulari. I'm a big fan of his. Gus Bradley, he typically just rushes with 4 men with a 4 front. So you need guys that can get to the passer. Mason Crosby is adequate. Cleveland Farrell is Cleveland Farrell. So let's go with Ojulari, man. He's a dude that just has the it factor in terms of how he bends the edge. Dude's very crafty in his pass rush moves. I'm not worried about his strength, how his speed translates straight to the next level. The guy, in my opinion, is just special. And then the Miami Dolphins with their second pick. We're going to go linebacker, but not the linebacker that y'all may think. Because a lot of y'all probably are like, oh, Zaven Collins. He's like a Kyle Van Noy clone. Yeah, but they got Kyle Van Noy. I know, what is it? Like a 3-year deal he's on? Like, yeah, no, I'm not going to go there. We're going to go with Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. I'm a big fan of his. He's currently the second linebacker I have on my board. I think he can fill a variety of different roles there because Jermaine Baker's kind of so-so. Like he's an average starter at best. Honestly, like JOK, he can do what they have Brandon Jones doing right now, kind of being that Patrick Chung in the offense. I think JOK can do that. I just like him as a scheme fit here. Because he is not Kyle. They already have Kyle Van Noy. We don't need to grab Kyle Van Noy and Zaven Collins. I like Zaven Collins, though. Don't get me wrong. And then we have the Washington football team. And I hate this because I saw Mel Kiper's draft today. I'm actually recording this Tuesday night. But I saw it today, and I was like, dang it, dude. I'm making the same pick as Mel Kiper. Which I'm not saying, I like Mel Kiper, but it's like, oh, people are going to think I'm just jacking this. But honestly, I think Kadarius Toney, especially what we saw at the Senior Bowl, like this dude, he just moves special, dude. The guy, how he moves is just saucy. Like he sauced some guys in drills Tuesday at the Senior, like Robert Rochelle, I think single-handedly Kadarius Toney turned that man into a late day 3 pick. Like it wasn't good looking, but like, dude, the way this guy, it's not just how he runs his routes or how he runs in general. Like this guy has incredible balance. He's great at creating space underneath. I think that's valuable in in Washington, if you're gonna go like if you're going with Alex Smith, who he doesn't have the best arm anymore, dude, to chuck it downfield. He's really a check down type of guy. Tony's perfect for that. He's great at creating space underneath. And guess what? He's fabulous at just eating contact some way, somehow, and churning out yards after the catch. Even if you're moving forward with Heineke, you benefit from a guy like Tony. So I like Tony here. I honestly, I think Tony's gonna be a first round pick when it's all said and done. It just the way he moves is just different, man. It's just different. And then we got the Chicago Bears. We could go offensive line, like tackle, but I mean Leatherwood I think I would consider, or Tevin Jenkins. Interior, Elijah Vera Tucker, Wyatt Davis. They were kind of beat up on the interior, so I don't think you necessarily have to immediately go replace those guys just yet. Instead, Allen Robinson, he's gone. He's not coming back to Chicago. I hate to break it to you. He ain't coming back. You'd be like, well, we need a quarterback. Yeah, you do need a quarterback, but I don't think we take Mac Jones here. I'm sorry, I just don't think so. So, we're going to go with Rashad Bateman, man. I really like Rashad Bateman. He's a very good route runner. He does a lot of things good, whether you flip him to the inside or the outside. He's great at attacking the intermediate to he's great just attacking the intermediate to downfield. And I think he'd be good to pair with Darnell Mooney. So figure out your quarterback situation. Unfortunately, I don't think they're going to be able to figure it out through the draft, at least not in the first round. You may notice the Detroit Lions are here because Matthew Stafford's going to the Colts. Right now, what I hear is 2 first-round picks for Matthew Stafford, so we're going to roll with it's going to cost them 2 first-round picks. Honestly, the Colts, they have all their picks, and the Colts are good at spending them wisely. Like Forrest Buckner, trading him for a first-rounder last year, looked good to me, looked like it panned out. Okay, trade this year's pick and next year's first-rounder for Matthew Stafford. Like, this team has a Super Bowl window, but they also have a very good young nucleus. So I think grabbing a guy like you're getting a much better guy than what you had in Phillip Rivers this year. And honestly, you almost like for all intents and purposes, I thought the Colts should have beat the Bills. They took some risk and they didn't pay off. I think with Matthew Stafford, that game's a little bit different. I think they could maybe win that game. So yeah. So Lions are now picking. I'd love to go receiver. It's not there. We could go edge, but I think it sounds like Dan Campbell is going to be like, it sounds like they're going to be maybe going after Trey Hendrickson. So maybe we don't go edge there. I mean, a lot of the guys here anyway, there are like some concerns. Like Osai, like he doesn't have the athletic traits as honestly the other guys right here, like Gregory Rousseau, like again, huge like physical upside, but Duke needs to develop. Jalen Phillips, concussion concerns. Jason Oweh, production concerns. Carlos Basham's kind of falls into the same thing with production concerns. I know some of y'all be like, he was double teamed, and like even when he wasn't really given many one-on-ones there at Wake Forest, but even so, like at points where it's just like, just use your freaking sick bull rush, dude. I know you're pretty agile for your size, but your bull rush is dominant. Just use the bull rush. I like Carlos Basham though. Don't make it like I'm hating on him. I like him. I like him as a prospect. Instead, we're gonna go with the interior. They do need help on the interior. Christian Barmore, I think, is definitely a first round pick at this point. He totally dominated the Notre Dame offensive line. It was an impressive feat. So yeah, Barmore, he's got a good athletic upside as well. So on to where are we at? Tennessee Titans. Honestly, I'm going Jason Oweh. I've seen people put Gregory Rousseau there, but honestly, I keep saying honestly. Truthfully, I have a bad taste in my mouth if I'm the Titans with Jadeveon Clowney. And Gregory Rousseau honestly reminds me too much of like, he's like a very raw version of Clowney. So I'm going to go with Oweh, dude. This guy at, what is it, 257? Like, he's got some speed to go around the edge. He created a lot of pressure there at Pittsburgh. I know it didn't translate to a lot of sacks, but he got a lot of pressure. Opposed to the Texans, I think they're going to go for a guy. Like, again, this is a team in rebuild, so you got time to sit on a developmental guy. So, hey, take your time with Gregory Rousseau, dude. I think this is great value for Rousseau. I still think Rousseau should be a top 20 pick just based on those physical traits alone. So, yeah, why not take a shot at this, at a prospect of the caliber of Gregory Rousseau? And then we got the Pittsburgh Steelers. You might be like, Kyle Trask, Mac Jones, and I'm like, no. Steelers, I think they could be in the market for a guy like Stafford or Sam Darnold, maybe even Carson Wentz. But if I'm the Steelers, man, I might just wait till day 2 to try to make a run on one of these quarterbacks. I think you need to address somewhere else, just because again, with Mac Jones, with Kyle Trask, even Jamie Newman, who looked very good in Tuesday's drills. I just don't think these guys currently warrant a first round pick. Just gonna say that right now. Like Jones, I wasn't sipping the Kool-Aid at first with Jones, and then I sipped the Kool-Aid. I jumped on the horse. I'm back off the horse. I think he's a second rounder at this point, maybe fringe first, late first. But we're gonna go a different direction. I think they need help on the offensive line in terms of their tackles. Because what Villanueva, I think, is a free agent, as well as Matt Flair. Can't remember how to say his name, but I mean, he was playing on the interior anyway. I imagine they would move him back to guard. Actually, didn't they re-sign him anyway? Not positive. But regardless, we're gonna go with the tackle. I think Tevin Jenkins, honestly, between him and Leatherwood, it was kind of a toss-up. But I think Jenkins is kind of more the rugged style that the Steelers like to play. This guy, he plays with a lot of power, but he's got some solid athleticism, being a part of that. He played in a very non-NFL blocking scheme there at Oklahoma State. It was a wide zone RPO. But I think a lot of the traits he showed, I think a lot of people are going to be pretty high on Jenkins coming around the draft. And again, this is a very good tackle class, so we're going to go with Jenkins. I think he really fits the mentality of the Steelers. That's the word I was looking for. And then the Jacksonville Jaguars. I've been seeing Trayvon Moehrig mocked here for quite some time, and I actually really like that. We could go a variety of different ways. We could go tackle with Alex Leatherwood or Samuel Cosmi. I like Cosmi a lot still, but a lot of people are worried about how he holds up physically in the NFL. How does he translate? Because he did, when he would lose, it would be because of strength or lack thereof, play strength. And then, but I really think Trayvon Moehrig's going to find himself in the first round. And they need help along that secondary. I think you got your quarterback of the future. Start investing in the defense a little bit through free agency and through the draft. So we're going to do that with Moehrig here. This guy, the dude, he really stepped his game up. He was big in 2019, don't get me wrong, but in 2020, he really elevated his game. And then the Cleveland Browns, I got them going linebacker. I think Nick Bolton, I know a lot of y'all are like, what? Xavier Collins, man, he's great. I think Nick Bolton is honestly probably what they're looking for. I've said this a ton. It's very close between JOK, Xavier Collins, and Bolton. And I actually got Collins ranked ahead of Bolton, but they provide 3 vastly different things in terms of their skill set. So it really depends on what those teams are looking for. And I think Nick Bolton is a bit more what Cleveland would probably be looking for in terms of their linebacker. So we're on to the Baltimore Ravens. I don't think they bring back any of their edge rushers in Judon or Ngakwe. So we're going to go with Jalen Phillips. I think we're going to see, I feel like teams at the end of the first round, if Phillips is still around there, are going to feel a bit better taking that chance on him, because there is the concussion red flag. There are reports that are saying UCLA kind of forced him into retirement. And that's why he eventually transferred, because he really still wanted to play. So that's why he transferred to Miami. But regardless, they need to retool the edge spot. It'd be nice. A lot of people are mocking receiver to the Ravens here, but there isn't a receiver I really like for the Ravens. I thought about Elijah Moore, but I don't think receiver's the problem for the Ravens offense. I think part of it is coaching. At least how they're running that scheme. Where it'll be like, okay, it's a run-heavy scheme, but what the receivers do are very, like, they run very simplistic routes. And I don't think bringing in more talented receiver is really going to help if the style of play calling remains so simple. But again, that's just my take on it. I'm not saying that, like, and I'm not saying that, like, the Greg Roman, I'm not, I want to say this carefully. I'm not saying Greg Roman is a bad coach. I think he tooled the offense to Lamar Jackson. And now it's time to take that next step, and I feel like they just haven't yet. So I feel like Greg Roman, I think he's a good coach. He's a good offensive coordinator. Expand the playbook, get a little more complexity on offense, because I think the Ravens, they have become very predictable. So again, that's just my opinion, though. I could be flat out wrong. The Saints are going Xavier Collins, dude. Zach Bond, I don't care how he develops. Xavier Collins is a better version. Green Bay Packers. Kevin Keenan ain't coming back. That's just the hard truth. I think they could go corner. I think Tyson Campbell is the next. He's kind of a fringe first rounder in my book. Him and then Asante Samuel Jr. are kind of my next corners up. I like how Campbell. I like how he fits the Green Bay defense. So we're gonna go with Campbell there, man. And then speaking of the devil, we got the Bills, who they didn't look too great in their own right, but who looks good against the Chiefs, let's be honest. I think they could take the best player available. Right now, for me, that would be Elijah Vera Tucker. They really, they could use an upgrade at guard. Cody Ford ain't all that. And, I mean, they moved on from Quinn Spain earlier in the year, and just the interior of that line just ain't that great. Like, subpar. Then Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I want to go with the guy that I think would be an immediate starter. Some guy that could be, like, I guess plug and play. I like Boogie Basham for this pick. I think he would be an immediate upgrade over William Golston. I think he can play. I think he would be able to help, because I don't think they bring back Shaq Barrett. At least I'm under the impression that they won't be able to. So I don't know. I guess it's wait and see. But I think Basham would be a guy that can make an immediate impact now that you have the Super Bowl window with Brady. And then the Kansas City Chiefs, we're going edge. I think they need edge help in the worst way. You'd be like, Frank Clark is blowing up in the playoffs. He did the same thing last year. He just sucks during the season. He does not provide, like, he's very, very inconsistent as a pass rusher. That's just my opinion on it. We're going Joseph Asai. Like I said, he doesn't really have the athleticism of some of the guys, like, or at least necessarily the upside of guys like Basham, Phillips, Rousseau, Away. But the guy in his own right, when this year asked to be a flat out, put your hand in the dirt, rush the passer, he did it. He did it well. So we're going to go with Osai. I think it's a solid pick here. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. I thought we had fun with this. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of hate, but that's every mock draft, dude. Not all of them are going to be gems, and not everyone's going to love it, but it is what it is. But that's it for the video. Go ahead, do the YouTube thing, and until next time, you be easy, my friends. Later.